We are about 2.5 hours into trading. It is Monday, April 11th. Hello, traders. Let's start off with a pick from last night. I showed you DASH dash. And I had mentioned this long green candle closing on its high from last Friday, that it would be a stock that I'd be keeping an eye on. And if we go into the 5-minute chart, you can see how strong the stock was right out of the gate with these two long green candles. Very little overlap right here. That was a sign that we were going higher. And look at that volume. You can see how heavy it is relative to previous days. Also, orange line above zero. Nice pick. Let's take a look at the overlay with the SPY, and then we'll take a look at the market, and then we'll see if we can find a new trade. So let's overlay the S&P 500. There you can see we opened near the high, and then we started to drift lower. As the market pulled back, look what this stock did. It rallied. That is the relative strength that we're looking for. You can see how it's continued to move. Now, this is a mover. You can see that from the charts. When you get a nice upward sloping trend line that's very defined like that, and you get a long red candle closing on its low off of that high, accompanied with there's a bearish hammer, these are all warning signs. As a day trader, you take profits when you see a candle like that. You wait for the next drop, you wait for the stock to find support, and then you reload. The other stock that I highlighted yesterday was CRM. Now, let's take a closer look at this today, and you can see market's pulling back, stock is pulling back. It has found support. It did not rally with the market right here. That tells me that that is weak relative to the S&P 500, and that the stock probably has to base for a while longer before it moves up. But it still may work out very well for a bullish put spread. And here's what we want to see happen. You can see that we've got horizontal resistance right there broken to the upside. Stock is able to get above the major moving averages on that long green candle Friday. Here's the important thing. First of all, if this candle had been out on an island without all these major moving averages running through it, I would want to see the halfway point preserved. Well, that halfway point happens to coincide with the 200-day and the 100-day moving average. So we want to see the stock maintain that support right there. If it's able to do that for a day or two, then I think selling an out of the money bullish put spread down to that 220 strike price or even lower will work out fine. But right now, you want to make sure that the stock is able to hold those gains. This is a critical support level, so that's what you need to keep your eye on. If the stock happens to have a green candle that closes above that high, well, then you know it's good to go. So it's consolidating the gains that it had from Friday, and it's also had a nice move off of the low here as well. So let's take a look at the market. You can see not a lot going on. Here's how I would break the market action down. You can see that is the spike that we had in the last 15 minutes of trading on Friday. In the last hour of trading on Friday. Remember that video? Long green candle closing on its high. Another one, stacked with very little overlap. When I saw this pattern, I knew we were going to close on the high of the day. And then the S&P shot up about another 10 points higher after that move right here. It's very difficult to buy that type of move. I know I've had to really struggle with it, but I've finally gotten used to doing it. Plus, this came on extremely heavy volume. When you see that, you just have to buy stupid, and you'll see that there is follow through to that move. Now, I'm pretty anxious to take profits when I get a nice big blow off like that. So, of course, manage your profits, scale out, take some of those gains. But this is a very bullish pattern right here. If you didn't watch the Friday video, please go back and do so. Most traders are not going to be able to buy this because they'll always be looking for that dip, dip, dip. You're not going to get one on this type of pattern. If there was a doji in between the two candles, if there were overlap in the candles, then yes, you might be able to get a dip that you can buy and then ride it higher. But when you see this, you got to get in. You have to buy. So what do we have going on today? We've got a little bit of a pullback, and some of these gains are being given back 410 on the SPY, I believe, is a support level. We almost got down to that level. Here's how I would characterize the early action. Got a tiny little rally, resistance near the all-time high from Friday, and then you get these three red candles. A little bounce, you've got a bearish flag right here, and a drop. Not too much below this drop. So the fact that we had early buying in here, and the fact that this bounce right here has taken a lot longer to unfold. See here you had a brief bounce and then selling coming right back in again. The fact that this bounce has taken a lot longer tells me that we are probably going to find support at the low of the day. What I'd be looking for is a higher low, double bottom, and then a gradual grind higher. Here's the pattern that you need to be leery of. If we come back and test this support 1, 2, 3 times by the end of the day, we'll probably take that support level out and you'll see sell stops triggered and the market will fall back down to probably that 410 area and close there. If I zoom out on the daily chart, you can see how strong the price action has been off of this dip right here. And we hit a breakout to a new high with some gaps in here. Volume has been good. Market needs some time to consolidate gains. We also have a upward sloping trend line here that I'm going to draw in, and you can see how we're just about touching. We've got a few touches along the way, 1, 2, 3, and we're testing the upper end of that trading channel. If we get a melt up to SPY 420 in the course of the next week, I think we've got to tread cautiously because we could see some profit taking. If we just continue to grind higher, there won't be much of a problem. I'm still bullish, but this has been a 3 steps forward, 2 steps backwards process the whole way. I don't think that that pattern is going to change, and we've taken 3 steps forward now, so I would look for a little bit of a pullback in here. Maybe fill that gap in right there, test SPY 400. That's a really nice round number. If you've got bullish put spreads on, which that's what we've been doing the last month or so, those things should be trading for pennies. If you can buy them back for pennies, you should do so. Try and reel those in, and then on that market pullback that we would get to say 400, we will be waiting for support. We're waiting for that breakout to be confirmed, and that will give us a chance to establish new bullish put spreads on the notion that now we get to move higher again. So everything seems to be in place. Coronavirus vaccinations happening at a rate of 3 million per day. Yes, some new cases are starting to pop up around the country. Europe is still largely in a lockdown, so that's going to impede the economic recovery. But the numbers have been good, and the Fed has said that they are not going to pump the brakes until 2024. That's also a good sign. So we need continued good economic news, and we've got earnings season starting this week with JPM. So buyers tend to be very engaged ahead of earnings season. They're not going to be overly anxious to buy a new all-time high, but on a dip, you bet they're going to be a lot more aggressive. So I'm looking for any dip to be relatively brief and relatively shallow. That'll be our opportunity to re-enter. So we've got a very dull day, and we can see that in the 10P indicator. It's not doing anything. It's been right around zero the whole day. This is what we want to see. We want to see big moves like that. Those are great. When we get that type of oscillation back and forth, then we know there's a lot of action within the market. Right now, I believe that we're going to have this little drift higher and a higher low double bottom, and then we'll continue to finish probably somewhere in that 411 to 410, 411 range. So it'd be right around this current level. Poke up, maybe test the high of the day, pull back a little bit. Very flat, very quiet trading. Not a lot going on. I think some traders might be waiting for earnings. When you have a dull market like this, you've got to find stocks that have heavy volume and relative strength, because that stock is going to have to do all the work for you today. I had pointed out DASH. That's the kind of stock that we want, something that's got really high volume. That'll give you the movement that you need. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to take a look at the same search that I've been showing you for the last few days. This is our squeeze search. So I've got a list of stocks with very, very big short interest. And I'm also suspecting that these stocks are seeing some forced buy-ins, which that tends to get these stocks going. A lot of them sit idle for a long time. So what we want to do is we want to find a stock that's above the prior day high and that has heavy volume today. I also added option liquidity. So let's focus on stocks that have good option liquidity. And you can see there are 3 stocks on the list. Dash we've already taken a look at. Let's see what the other 2 are doing. ATNF, you can see 3 long green candles right out of the open, closing on their high, and you can see how there was nice follow through to it. Little choppy, very choppy stock. This is the kind that you have to buy on dips. So you get a dip here, you get a really nice compression, and you can see right here how 10 SI is starting to move higher. And let me put the crosshair on so that you can see right in here. We get this little pop, and now look at the volume starting to come in. So this stock looks like it's getting ready to stage another rally. ATNF. This is going to see some short covering, and look at that move. You can see it has moved huge. I prefer these for day trading. I don't know the company. I don't want to know the company. After a move like that, I'm only day trading it. I'm not looking to swing trade this. Let's take a look at the next one. RBLX. This has been on our search from the open, and we'll go into the 5-minute chart, and you can see the stock open with a long green candle, and it has been moving higher. It took out the previous day's high. That's good. So a little bit pullback here. I think you're going to see a similar stair-step fashion. So you got the rally. There's your first bull flag right there. Get your next bull flag. It's probably got one more bull flag in it. Typically after 3 bull flags, the stock starts to lose some of its momentum. But I think on pullbacks, this stock still looks good, and you can see the heavy volume. So we're watching this search right now, looking for short squeezes. I can also go into some of our other searches. I've got Pop Bull right here. This is one of my favorite swing trading searches. Alibaba has been strong, and you can see how that stock took out the high right there, put up the daily chart. You can see how it's through the 50-day moving average and through this horizontal resistance. It had a settlement with the Chinese government. I believe they took 4% of their revenues from 2019, and that's sparking some buying interest. Will it have follow through? I'm not sure. I'd rather see it through that 100-day personally after a big move like that. I want to make sure that buyers are still committed to it because the stock has been relatively weak. FDX, I really like. There you can see nice steady upward price action and a breakout here. If I draw the trend line starting from the low, and I'll just start it right here, and I'm going to connect that, or I can connect that. There's your upward sloping trend line. It comes into play right here on that breakout. Was resistance, now support. It's touched it a few times, and that happens to come in on that upward sloping trend line as well. I think that you can look to maybe selling out of the money bullish put spread on FDX. You don't have to worry about earnings because that was earnings back in here. And something around the 275 level, I think, would really work out well for FDX. That would give you plenty of distance, and you have that upward sloping trend line you can lean on, and there is some minor horizontal support right through here as well. So that's all I've got for you today. I wanted to keep it relatively short and sweet. The market's not doing a whole lot after making a really big run over the course of the last 3 weeks. It's bound to pause in here, and it may just simply wait for earnings announcements to come out before it makes its next step higher. So when the trading action is very, very quiet like this, you've really got to focus on stocks that have heavy volume, momentum, and relative strength. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.